Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. You know, we all want to improve different parts of our lives.
Hmm.
And I think today's topic is really going to resonate with a lot of you out there.
Yeah.
So today, we're going to be diving into a whole bunch of tips and tricks and advice from self-improvement experts on building habits for a better life, like how to actually make those positive changes stick.
Oh, that's good.
You know, we're talking about waking up early.
Yeah.
We'll be looking at exercise and journaling,
Mhm.
mindful eating, even tackling things like emotional trauma, separation anxiety, overthinking, and we'll even sprinkle in a
Nice.
little bit of ancient wisdom from the Stoics.
Well, I like that. I like that.
So get ready for a jam-packed deep dive full of actionable advice that you can start using right away.
Yeah, this is a good one. One of the sources we're diving into today talks about waking up early.
Yes.
And I was so fascinated by how they connect waking up early to more than just,
Right.
being productive or getting more done. They talked about like using those quiet morning hours for intention setting and mindfulness.
Yes. There was this one source that described this feeling of being in control
Yeah.
and having reduced stress in the mornings, which is definitely something I could use.
Me too.
And, you know, they even had this beautiful anecdote about
Ah.
watching the sunrise from their balcony with a cup of coffee and just like feeling this sense of peace and gratitude. And it was almost poetic, you know?
It is. It's like creating this little pocket of tranquility and intention before the day even really starts.
Right.
I mean, do you think you could ever see yourself becoming a morning person?
I don't know about that. I'm a total night owl, but
Yeah.
this source made it sound less about forcing yourself to change and more about
Yeah.
finding those moments of quiet and intention
Hmm.
whenever they may be, you know?
Right.
Maybe starting with just waking up 15 minutes earlier or something.
That's a good strategy. Just start small and see how it feels.
All right, exactly.
Okay, so let's move on to something a little more physical. Let's talk exercise.
Oh, the dreaded E word. I have to admit, I've used every excuse in the book to avoid working out.
Oh, yeah, me too.
In fact, one of the sources we're looking at today actually lists a bunch of those excuses.
Oh, really?
It was hilarious, like so relatable, but they eventually realized that exercise wasn't just about
Yeah.
physical fitness.
Right. It's about self-care and stress release
Mhm.
and that boost you get from those endorphins.
Yes. One source described this feeling of freedom and clarity while jogging. They said it wasn't even really about
Ugh.
burning calories or
Yeah.
like, you know, achieving a certain physique. It was about clearing their head and just feeling mentally sharper.
There's another anecdote we found about someone trying yoga for the first time.
How nice.
And they thought it wouldn't be challenging enough, but they ended up feeling so energized
Wow.
and connected to their body in a way they hadn't expected.
It's funny how we can have these preconceived notions about exercise, right?
Yeah.
But then we step outside our comfort zone and we discover something totally unexpected.
Exactly. And the key is to find something you enjoy,
Right.
not something you feel like you have to do.
Mm.
So it could be dancing, hiking, swimming, anything that gets you moving and feeling good.
So it's not about pushing ourselves to the limit every single time.
Nope. Starting small and focusing on consistency is way more effective
Yeah.
than these like sporadic bursts of intense activity.
That makes sense.
So maybe just try adding a 15-minute walk into your day
Okay.
or try a new class with a friend.
I like that.
All right, let's move on to a habit that I'll admit I used to think was only for like
Yeah.
super organized people. Journaling.
Oh, tell me about it.
Right. But one of the sources we're looking at today described it as a conversation with yourself,
Oh, interesting.
a way to untangle your thoughts and emotions.
That's a really cool way to think about it.
It is, right. There's this great story in here about someone journaling after a really stressful day at work, and it was like they were able to process everything on paper and actually come up with solutions
great.
that they hadn't seen before.
So it's like a problem-solving tool almost.
It can be.
Yeah.
And it provides a safe space to be honest with yourself,
Yeah.
and uncover patterns in your thinking.
So it's not about writing perfectly crafted sentences.
No, not at all. It's just about getting your thoughts and feelings out.
Yeah.
It could be a total brain dump, or it could be more structured.
Okay, so just whatever works for you.
Exactly.
I think I might need to dust off my old notebook.
Yeah, give it a try.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of being more present, let's talk about mindful eating.
Ah, that's a good one.
It's so easy to eat on autopilot in our busy lives.
Yeah.
But this source presented mindful eating as a way to really savor each bite.
Yeah.
and truly nourish our bodies and minds.
Mm.
And there's this great anecdote about, of all things, a simple bowl of oatmeal.
Okay.
This person usually just like shovels it in while running out the door. Great.
Yeah.
But when they slowed down, paid attention to the taste, the texture, the warmth, it became this unexpected moment of gratitude and mindfulness.
Oh, wow.
It's amazing, right?
It is. And it reminds me that we can find those moments of mindfulness anywhere.
Anywhere.
Yeah.
And the benefits go beyond just enjoying your food more. It can also help you feel more satisfied
Okay.
and help you digest better
Wow.
and even help you become more aware of emotional eating triggers.
Okay, so the next time I'm reaching for a snack when I'm bored,
Yeah,
I need to pause and ask myself, am I really hungry?
exactly. It's about connecting with your body and its signals.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Now, for a habit that might be a bit tougher in our digital world,
Huh.
limiting screen time,
Yeah, that's a tough one.
it is. But all the sources we looked at today really emphasize setting boundaries.
Right.
Even the experts themselves admitted to struggling with this one.
Yeah, I think we all do.
But they realized that reducing screen time wasn't about deprivation.
Right.
It was about reclaiming time for things that truly matter.
Okay, so what were some of the benefits they talked about?
Oh, they found that they were able to rediscover hobbies, they were sleeping better,
Oh, nice.
they were less anxious, and they felt more present in their relationships.
There's this one anecdote I loved where someone described feeling so rejuvenated after a walk in the park.
Oh, yeah.
And contrasting that with the feeling of lethargy they felt after scrolling through social media for hours.
It's amazing how what we do with our time impacts our energy and well-being.
It really is. So maybe instead of reaching for our phones every free moment,
Yeah.
we can challenge ourselves to do something more mindful.
Yeah, exactly. It could be reading a book,
Yeah.
talking to a loved one,
Yeah.
anything more fulfilling.
All right, now let's talk about something that might feel a little heavier,
Okay.
but it's so important. Healing from emotional trauma.
Yeah, this is a topic that needs a lot of sensitivity and understanding.
Absolutely.
You know, one of the sources defined emotional trauma as a wide range of experiences.
Yeah.
Anything from a single traumatic event to ongoing suffering.
And it can show up in so many ways,
Well,
right?
so many ways.
Like persistent sadness,
Anxiety,
fatigue.
insomnia.
Yeah, even physical symptoms.
And it's not always obvious,
Right.
which is why it's so important to talk about it.
Absolutely. So what's the first step towards healing?
Well, according to this source, it's acknowledging and accepting that it's a valid experience
Okay.
that has shaped your life. It's not something to be ashamed of.
Right. One source talked about self-assessment techniques.
Oh, yeah.
Like paying attention to changes in our behavior or emotional stability.
Right, being really in tune with yourself.
Yeah. And they emphasize that everyone heals differently. There's no one-size-fits-all approach.
Right, and there are a lot of natural healing methods out there.
Yeah, like what?
Well, mindfulness and meditation, deep breathing, exercise,
Okay.
getting enough sleep, eating a healthy diet.
For all those foundational things we've been talking about.
Yeah, exactly. And they also talked about the power of creative expression.
Oh, and
Things like writing, journaling, art, music.
it's about finding healthy outlets for those emotions,
They also talk about setting boundaries and practicing forgiveness.
both for ourselves and for others.
Yes, absolutely. And of course, for severe trauma, professional therapy is crucial.
Right. And it's so important to celebrate those little victories along the way.
Absolutely. Every step forward is a testament to your strength.
Okay, so now, switching gears a bit, let's look at separation anxiety.
You know, there's this misconception that it only affects children.
Right.
But one of our sources today challenges that idea.
Yeah.
They talk about how it can affect people of all ages and that it often goes overlooked or misdiagnosed in adults.
Right.
And they connect it to attachment theory,
Okay.
explaining how our early relationships can shape our responses to separation later in life.
So our childhood experiences can actually have a lasting impact on how we handle separation as adults.
Exactly. And, you know, the way it manifests can be different for everyone.
Yeah, I imagine it could look really different in a toddler versus an adult.
Exactly. Like in toddlers, it might be tantrums. In children, it might be school refusal. And in adults, it might be excessive worry about loved ones.
So what did the sources recommend for managing separation anxiety?
Well, one source really emphasized the importance of professional intervention, especially for severe cases.
Okay.
They talked about different techniques like interviews and assessments, but they also talked about creating a supportive environment at home.
Right. So that's important too.
Yeah, things like open communication, consistent routines,
Okay.
and gradually desensitizing yourself to triggers.
That makes sense.
And they stress the importance of self-care for caregivers.
Yes. You can't pour from an empty cup.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So make time for your own well-being.
One source mentioned cognitive behavioral therapy, or CBT,
Yeah, that's a common approach.
as being effective.
Yeah.
And they even suggested exploring things like yoga, acupuncture, and massage.
Oh, wow. So more holistic approach.
It's fascinating how those can complement traditional therapy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so now let's talk about something I think we've all experienced at some point: overthinking.
Oh, yeah, that feeling of being stuck in your head, going round and round.
Right, like a hamster on a wheel.
Yes. One source described it as having a committee of negative thoughts,
Yeah.
constantly second-guessing everything.
Oh, it's exhausting.
It is. But the first step, they say, is embracing uncertainty.
Okay, what does that mean exactly?
It means accepting that we can't control everything
Mm-hmm.
and that trying to do so only leads to more anxiety.
So just letting go of the need to control every little thing.
Exactly. They had this great analogy. It's like being a passenger on a roller coaster.
Oh, I like
You
that.
can't control the twists and turns, so you might as well enjoy the ride.
That's a good one. Let go and enjoy the ride.
Yeah.
Now, they also talk about distraction,
Oh, yeah.
but not in a way that avoids your problems.
Right. It's more about giving your mind a break from the constant churn.
Okay, so like doing something enjoyable to shift your focus.
Exactly. Like watching a movie, reading, puzzles,
Okay.
even just visualizing something silly.
So give your mind a chance to relax and reset.
Exactly. And then there's this interesting idea of
Yeah.
practicing mindfulness while also setting aside dedicated thinking time.
Wait, how does that work? Those seem kind of opposite.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But mindfulness is about being present, noticing your thoughts without judgment,
Okay.
but not getting swept away by them.
So observing your thoughts from a distance.
Yeah, exactly. And then setting aside thinking time is like giving your thoughts a specific space to come up.
So it's like saying, okay, I'll deal with you later.
Yeah, it's like scheduling a meeting with your worries.
I love that. So it's like creating boundaries for your mental energy,
Exactly. And they also talked about challenging your thoughts.
like questioning them and seeing if they're actually true.
Yes, like a detective interrogating a suspect.
That's a good analogy.
They also recommend limiting your choices.
Wait, what? How does that help?
Well, they talk about this idea called the paradox of choice,
Yeah, okay.
which says that having too many options can actually lead to more stress and indecision.
Oh, that makes sense.
We get overwhelmed and end up overthinking everything.
Yeah, it's like being at a buffet with only one plate.
Right. You want to try it all, but you just can't.
And finally, they talk about accepting that there's no perfect decision.
It's so true. Trying to be perfect just leads to overthinking and inaction.
So embracing good enough and trusting your gut.
Exactly. Free yourself from needing to be perfect and just move forward.
Okay, so now let's dive into this philosophy that I've heard a lot about, but I'm not sure I fully understand it.
Okay. Stoicism.
Stoicism is all about finding inner peace and resilience,
Okay.
even when things are tough.
So it's not about pretending that difficult things don't affect you.
No, it's about acknowledging them, but choosing how you respond to them.
Okay, so you're not denying your emotions.
Not at all. It's about recognizing that you have control over your thoughts and actions, even when things are outside of your control.
Exactly. And there's this interesting Stoic practice called negative visualization.
What's that?
It's where you imagine the worst-case scenario,
Oh, wow.
so you can appreciate what you have and be prepared for challenges.
Okay, so it's like a mental exercise to build resilience.
Yeah, it's about mentally preparing yourself for anything.
I like that. And they also mentioned journaling about your day from a third-person perspective.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. It helps create some distance from your emotions.
So you can analyze things more objectively.
Exactly.
It's amazing how Stoicism, which is such an ancient philosophy, still has so much to teach us today.
It really does.
And this is just the beginning of our deep dive.
Oh, yeah.
We've got so much more to explore.
We do. We're going to be talking about those life-changing habits for mastering success.
Oh, can't wait to hear about those.
And we'll delve even deeper into some of the things we've touched upon today.
I'm excited to keep learning.
Me too. It's amazing how these seemingly simple habits can really have such a huge impact on our lives, you know?
Yeah, it's like one positive change can lead to another, creating this upward spiral.
Yeah, like a chain reaction.
Chain reaction of good habits.
Exactly.
Okay, so we've talked about a lot already. Waking up early, exercise, journaling,
Right.
mindful eating, limiting screen time.
We even touched upon healing from emotional trauma and dealing with separation anxiety.
Right. So many great tools for building a better life.
Yeah, and before we wrap up this deep dive, there's one more source I want to touch on.
Oh, okay. What's this one about?
It goes into a bit more depth on overthinking.
Oh, yeah, we touched on that a bit earlier.
Yeah, and I think it deserves a little more attention.
I agree. I mean, we all get stuck in our heads sometimes.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So this source really emphasizes the importance of accepting uncertainty,
Okay.
that we can't control everything, and that trying to do so just creates more anxiety.
Yeah, it's like trying to hold back the tide, right?
Exactly. You're just going to get swept away.
So we got to learn to ride the waves a bit.
Yeah, they use this analogy of being a passenger on a roller coaster.
Oh, I like that one.
You can't control the twists and turns,
No.
so you might as well just enjoy the ride, right?
Just got to let go and trust the process.
Exactly. They also talk about distraction,
Oh, yeah.
not as a way to avoid our problems, but to give our minds a break.
So shifting your focus to something more enjoyable.
Exactly. Like watching a movie, reading, puzzles.
Yeah, anything that brings you joy.
Exactly. And they also talk about this interesting concept of practicing mindfulness, but also setting aside dedicated thinking time.
Wait, how does that work? Those seem kind of contradictory.
I know, it sounds strange, right? But mindfulness is about being present in the moment,
Okay.
noticing your thoughts without judgment, but not getting carried away by them.
So observing your thoughts without getting tangled up in them.
Yes, exactly. And then setting aside thinking time is like giving those thoughts a designated space.
So instead of trying to push them away, you're giving them a time and place to surface.
Exactly. It's like scheduling a meeting with your worries, you know?
Oh, I like that. So it's about creating boundaries for your mental energy.
Yeah, exactly.
They also talk about challenging your thoughts,
Oh, yeah.
like putting them on trial.
Like you're a detective interrogating a suspect.
Exactly. See if they hold up under scrutiny.
Right. And then they have this interesting suggestion. Limit your choices.
Wait, really? How does that help with overthinking?
They talk about this concept called the paradox of choice,
Okay.
which basically says that having too many options can actually make us more stressed and indecisive.
Oh, that makes sense. Like you could just get paralyzed by all the possibilities.
Exactly.
It's like information overload.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So they suggest simplifying things, focusing on what really matters.
Less is more, right?
Sometimes, yeah. And then finally, they emphasize accepting that there's no perfect decision.
Oh, that's a big one.
It is, and I think we're all guilty of striving for perfection sometimes.
Oh, yeah, all the time.
But it just leads to overthinking and inaction.
So it's about making a choice and moving forward, even if it's not perfect.
Yeah, it's about progress, not perfection.
Okay, I'm liking this theme.
It's about freeing yourself from that need to be perfect and just taking action.
Okay, that makes sense.
And it's interesting how this source ties these strategies for overthinking back to the idea of success.
Oh, how so?
They say that overthinking can actually be a big obstacle to achieving our goals.
Because it keeps us stuck in our heads and prevents us from taking action.
Exactly.
So by learning to manage our thoughts, we're clearing the path to success.
It's like removing the mental roadblocks.
I like that.
And it's a good reminder that all these habits we're talking about, from exercise to mindful eating,
Yeah.
they're all investments in our well-being and success.
It's about creating a life that's fulfilling and allows us to reach our potential.
Exactly. Okay, for our final deep dive today, let's talk about mastering success.
Oh, yes. Let's do it.
This source outlines 10 key habits for achieving success, both personally and professionally.
Okay, I'm ready. Hit me with number one.
Number 1 is rising early.
Oh, there it is again. Those early birds.
They really are onto something.
So what's the connection between waking up early and success?
Well, they talk about increased productivity, focus, and a sense of control.
Okay, I can see how that would set you up for a successful day.
Exactly. Number 2 is never stopping learning.
Oh, I like that one.
Lifelong learning, right?
Yeah, always be growing and expanding your knowledge.
Through books, courses, podcasts, whatever works for you.
Keep that brain engaged.
Exactly. Number 3 is fueling your body, right?
Okay, so healthy eating.
Yeah, a balanced diet with plenty of nutrients.
Gotta give your body the fuel it needs to perform at its best.
And that leads us right into number 4, moving your body regularly.
Okay, so exercise is back on the list.
It's essential for physical and mental well-being.
And it helps with stress management, right?
Absolutely.
Okay, what's next?
Number 5 is maintaining a positive mindset.
Ah, that's a big one. It's so easy to get bogged down by negativity.
It is, but this source talks about focusing on opportunities even within challenges.
So it's about choosing to see the good.
Yeah, and building resilience.
Okay, I like that.
Number 6 is setting clear and achievable goals.
Goals give us direction, right? Something to strive for.
Exactly. And it helps with motivation, too.
Okay, I'm taking notes.
Number 7, mastering time management.
Oh, time management. That's a struggle for a lot of people.
It is, but learning to prioritize tasks and minimize distractions can make a big difference.
So it's about being intentional with our time.
Exactly.
What's number 8?
Building a strong network.
Okay, so surrounding yourself with supportive people.
Yeah, people who lift you up and challenge you to grow.
And provide opportunities, too.
Absolutely. Number 9 is becoming financially literate.
Okay, so understanding how money works and managing it well.
Exactly. It can reduce stress and give you more freedom.
That's a good point.
And finally, number 10 is giving back to others.
I love that one.
It's about contributing to something bigger than yourself.
Right, making a positive impact on the world.
Exactly. And these 10 habits, when practiced consistently,
Yeah.
they can truly transform your life.
It's about making small, consistent changes that compound over time.
And remember, this is an ongoing journey.
It's a marathon, not a sprint.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
be patient with yourself and enjoy the process.
Okay, so we've covered so much ground today, from waking up early to overthinking to stoicism.
We've explored so many different paths to a better life.
And while each source had its own perspective, there's a common thread running through all of them.
Oh, what's that?
The power of small, consistent actions.
It's not about making huge, drastic changes.
Right, it's about those little steps we take each day.
Those tiny tweaks that add up to something truly remarkable.
One source said it beautifully. They said, the journey of self-improvement is not a sprint, it's a marathon.
Ooh, I like that.
And you get to run it at your own pace, in your own lane, with your own unique soundtrack.
That's a great way to put it. It's your journey, embrace it.
And it's not just about us, right?
Right. It's about becoming better versions of ourselves.
Yeah.
So we can show up better for others.
For our families, our communities, the world.
It's about making a positive impact.
Exactly.
So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I want to encourage you to think about what resonated with you today.
Yeah, what habit or strategy are you going to try?
What small change can you make today that will set you on the path to a better tomorrow?
The answer is different for everyone.
But I believe we all have the power to create a life filled with joy and meaning.
And by cultivating these habits, we're not just improving our own lives.
We're making the world a better place.
Exactly. We're creating a ripple effect.
And now for the final part of our deep dive.
Let's zoom out and think about these habits as pieces of a larger puzzle.
Oh, okay. I like where this is going.
It's like we've given everyone all these different tools they can use.
Yeah, a whole toolbox for a better life.
Exactly. Now it's up to each person to decide which tools they want to use and how they want to use them. Right, like maybe someone's really drawn to the Stoic philosophy and they want to experiment with negative visualization or that third-person journaling technique.
That's a good one.
Yeah, or maybe someone's been struggling with overthinking and they're ready to try limiting their choices or setting aside that dedicated thinking time.
Absolutely. And even just incorporating one small habit, like mindful eating or a 15-minute walk every day, can make a difference.
Right. It's not about changing everything overnight.
It's about those small steps.
Those little tweaks
Yeah.
that add up over time.
Exactly.
One source put it perfectly, they said. The journey of self-improvement is not a sprint, it's a marathon.
Oh, I like that.
And you get to run it at your own pace, in your own lane, with your own unique soundtrack.
That's a great way to put it. It's your journey, no one else's.
And it's about more than just ourselves, too, right?
Right.
It's about becoming better people so we can show up better for the people in our lives.
Yeah, for our families, our communities, everyone.
It's about making a positive impact on the world around us.
Absolutely.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with this.
Okay.
You have the power to create a life that is both fulfilling and meaningful.
You do.
It starts with one small step, one tiny change.
One decision to embrace the journey.
Exactly.
Thank you for joining us for this deep dive.
We hope you found it helpful and inspiring.
We'll see you next time.
Keep learning, keep growing, keep diving deep.